And we are live. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Martin. I am the managing editor of Femme magazine. I am so excited about my Q&A with the Scutly filmmaker Layne Marie Williams and our special guest. We'll get into that after the trailer, so see you soon.
Scutly. Mr. Scutly.
This brings us all to the man of the hour, the big cheese, the monocle man, full of insight. The Pastel Girls, pink.
I have an idea.
Blue,
what?
Purple.
Ooh!
Sadly, mourning the loss of his ever so ghostly wife, Teresa.
Where do you shop?
The forces of nature volunteering at the senior citizen home.
I got you, and you got me.
Of the Matour.
She was ashes. She was just ashes. She was gone.
All right. Here we go. Yes, so Layne Marie Williams is here, and Joette Waters, who played Sharon in the film, is here with us as well. Before I get into discussing the film and the characters and everything with them, Layne has a special surprise announcement that she would like to share with us.
Yeah, so one little, I guess it's not so little, but fun fact about this movie that we've been sitting on for a really long time, like a really long time, is Joette Waters is the title character, Scutly.
That is, I had no idea. In fact, you know, I got to say, I interviewed Layne back in May, and you know, she had hinted at Joette being, you know, Scutly, and I was like, no way. Like, honestly, I'm like, a woman played that role? Like, I had no idea. So I'm really excited to hear, like, how you guys met and how this character, Scutly, became, you know, so much a part of, you know, Joette's role and just the creation of it. So why don't we start with how you guys both came together on this project?
Well, from the very beginning, when you played a relative of mine in that lovely film that we did, you were my niece.
Right. Yeah.
Grandniece or
very
niece?
spooky niece.
Yeah. and we just fell in love at first sight. We became very close friends from the get-go. And I was going to do another film, and we were in that together. And between takes, Layne said to me, you know, I'd like to write something for you. And I said, what a wonderful thing to say. And she said, yes, what would be a dream role? And I said, well, you know, I've never played a man. And she said, what kind of man? And the rest is history. I'll let Layne continue with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was sometime around when I first moved to Chicago. And actually, I got we worked on two different films. That's right. I got the two confused. The first one, I was not so spooky. But the second one, spookier vibes for sure. But yeah, it was during that production. And I remember it the exact same way as Joette. And one thing that was really special about it is, like, from my memory, like you specifically said, old man, you know, and when I was acting a lot, I often would play men in like Shakespeare plays and things like that. And I know as an actress, like that's something that, like, getting to sink your teeth into like a Hamlet or a Lucio or, you know, any character like that, particularly with that language and the way that Shakespeare has like created them, it's such an adventure. And so it completely, you know, in that moment, it really piqued my interest, and I forgot about it. I forgot about that conversation and, you know, continued on into the world. And then one night, Joette emailed me and sent me like information to come check her out in the play. And I remembered our conversation, and it must have been, I mean, it was late at night, and I like got hit like a lightning bolt and was just like, huh. And so I just like started writing the script, and building this character and the Pastel Girls and just sort of the different colors within this film. And of course it went through many edits and many rewrites, and we did a lot of workshops, and it was a really, the project itself took a long time to create and then get off the ground and then finish. So we're so thrilled to be in a place now where we can reveal Joette's wonderful work in it, especially in this way, because we kept it a secret for so long. So thank you for the opportunity to do that here today.
Yeah, that is great. And, you know, so you had mentioned like there was a lot that went to keeping it a secret when we had talked before this officially went live. How was it like? So first of all, I don't understand like how you brought all those elements together so well, and then also had Scutly, the character, like secret from everyone. There's like so much going on, and it works so well together. And I'm curious if you could talk about like the making of this film and how you kept, you know, Joette like keeping her secret from the people who were a part of the production. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it takes an army to make a film, especially this one. It really took a really strong and passionate cast and crew to get this accomplished, especially because, again, it was such a big project. It was a really big undertaking, and for being a short film. And, you know, we had NDAs that spelled out, like, do not take pictures of Joette, do not post pictures of Joette, and just were really detailed about, like, keeping this a secret. We had everybody sign them. And then, you know, we just kind of got lucky. I mean, I think actually in the previous interview we did, Rebecca, there was like we were revealing that, and I was like, and we decided ultimately to take that out so we could do a big reveal later. So we just we've been lucky to keep it a secret for so long. And I, you know, as soon as we finished the film, I kept trying to figure out like when is the right moment, yeah, so we just wanted to make sure that we did it in a way that felt like authentic and timely, and we just got acceptance into a screening here in LA.
Congratulations, that's great.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And then we're also screening with Film Girl Film Festival, November 13th through the 20th. So it feels like a great time to just go ahead and let Joette also be able to claim that.
Yes. And Joette, I am a little interested in, was it something you guys decided together to keep it secret?
Yes, really it was. And we're so glad that we did, because we have so many people say that they're glad they never knew. And it's such a delight when they find out at the credits, you know. So we're glad that we did. I wanted to bring something up about the mystical aspect, because when Layne first asked me a few years back what kind of a man, and I had to really think about it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I think he needs to be kind of mystical. And I think that kind of planted the seed for the flavor of the whole film, really.
Yeah, I could see that. And I it is fascinating to me because this film is, and Layne, I see this in your work. You're very good with the whole like gender fluidity aspect of like characters, and you know, the balance between you know, the Pastel Girls and Scutly. I think it's just so fascinating. So I guess my question for both of you, and you can answer like, you know, one at a time if you'd like, what was the what was it that you guys were trying to do with Scutly? Was it supposed to be like maybe like a man playing a man, or like a woman in a man's body, or is it like up to you? You figure it out. Like, what was it that, you know, in terms of gender, you were trying to express in this film with Scutly? I guess it's a complicated question, but we can just explore it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Scutly is a man who very much loved his wife and happens to have the experience of Alzheimer's. But the fact that a female actor is playing the role is incidental. And that's what I love about the way Layne directed it, and that she cast me in this role. That it didn't matter that I was a woman. That was incidental. That's the power of it to me.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then what was the reason for the Pastel Girls in Scutly's story?
Well, you know, I spent a lot of time at senior citizen homes when I was growing up. And I lost my grandparents, almost all of them, to Alzheimer's disease, and was a rebellious teenage Southern girl. And growing up in that environment, spending so much time watching like your loved ones fade away. But, you know, the light that I could bring in, my brothers and I could bring in when we came and visited, I mean, that kind of stuff stays with you. So I think in a lot of ways, there's some autobiographical elements. And yeah, the Pastel Girls are really meant to come in, make a really large impression, and then they're ultimately totally changed by the end. They grow up, they level up. They're just trying to figure out who they are. And that means in the moments that means in the movie that they're exploring, you know, they're exploring language. They're exploring the way they want to dress. They're exploring their relationships with each other. They're exploring their connections to people much older than them. And in particular, you know, Scutly catches their eye because I think in a lot of ways they see some of themselves in him. And you know, there's just this like cross-generational relationship that has always been very valuable to me. And I don't think is represented out there a lot in media. And so, you know, I wanted to play with, I wanted to make like brave choices and make people uncomfortable in moments and make people laugh and hopefully bop around the music. And
yeah, it was very original, and I appreciate that you brought those two sides to it, because I agree. I mean, I've spent time volunteering at a nursing home, and I would just love sitting with these older people and hearing their stories. Like it's so it's fascinating. And I, you know, those are kind of the forgotten people. And to bring, you know, a character like Scutly, who has this story about, you know, his wife and everything, and just how it can, you know, impact these Pastel Girls. I think that's great. So Joette, I wanted to ask, like, you've done a lot of acting. I mean, looking at your IMDb page, I'm like, whoa, like she's done a lot of roles. And I'm curious, what about Scutly is special to you in all the, you know, different characters you've played?
So, well, of course, the obvious, getting to play a man and getting to feel somewhat what it's like to be a man, and just wrapping my brain around that. But also the fact that there was so much love involved. It's, you know, it was very hard for him to lose his wife, but she was still with him and he was still seeing her, and he had his feet in two different worlds. And so that was a wonderful thing to play as well, you know. And also that generation gap was bridged. At first he didn't want to like the girls.
Right.
There's noisy, get out of, you know, they were like, no, you know. he just couldn't help falling in love with them too, and he learned from them, and they learned from him. So it was a beautiful love story all the way around.
That's great. And I know this journey started 2 years ago. Is that what you said, Layne?
Maybe longer. Maybe 3.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, through this journey you guys have taken together, what things have you learned about, I guess, each other and this experience that you think you could take in your future projects?
Well, one of the things with working with Layne is that she is also an actor. So when you have an actor directing, it makes a huge difference. There's so much respect. There's so much understanding, and there's a level of communication that is hard to find sometimes. Don't you think so, Layne?
Yeah, I mean, I love actors.
Yeah,
like, I love working with people. Working with people, whether they're regardless of their experience level. I mean, though actors in particular, like, we just click. We're speaking the same language. So yeah, I definitely consider myself to be a performance-based director, though I do love playing with atmosphere and making bold aesthetic choices.
But we're not left out in the process, and that sometimes happens.
Yeah, I mean, ideally it's a little bit of both. I mean, it just kind of depends on, the story and what you're trying to capture. So, I mean, so many lessons learned from this production. I remember like writing it sometime before the previous election. And then, those results. Yep. And then, those results kind of fueled some of the very like gross choices I made, and and like not wanting to pull back from that. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like I learned so much from this production. I'm very thankful for that. And my goal and my hope was for it to be a portfolio builder and something that everybody from the cast to the crew can point to. And as they progress in their own careers, it's something that benefited them.
Yeah.
So as long as that is the case for everybody, like, awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I love it. Layne, when we had talked back in March, you were saying that Scutly was kind of like you throwing up on a page or something like that, where you were just like, this is me, like spewed out, and to have someone like Joette be like, I'm in on this, like I'm a part of this mess that's on a page, I think for me it's so exciting watching this film because of all of the different elements that come together, like the quick sounds and the colors and the quick noises. So how was it? I don't know how you guys would go about talking about this, but just working in Layne's world, and just, was it exciting for you, Joette, to just kind of be a part of that?
Yes, it was very exciting, and it was so surprising to see the finished product because, of course, we don't see the special effects and the animation.
Oh, yeah.
All of that. But Layne was very good at describing it. So it really helped in the scene to know what was going to be going on. It made a difference. And I loved my apartment, as soon as I stepped onto it, it was magic. I mean, the set was lovely, and it really took you into a different world. And,
we shot on a soundstage at Synopsis, and just had a wonderful art department and art team come together. I mean, the crew just like really killed it, and it was such a big undertaking that, and it feels like so long ago now. but I look back with a lot of respect for the people that made that production possible. It really truly does take a really strong ensemble. And I mean, Joette, I think, knows this a little bit, but there were definitely moments where after we wrapped, you know, we went immediately into post, and I had some deadlines I was trying to make, but we just ran out of money. I ran out of money for like the spirit and all the VFX. And that was really tough. But I was relentless and like didn't give up, and, you know, was introduced to a VFX designer who sent me some mock-ups, and I was like, oh, this is it. Like, I'm gonna hire Jesse Randall, like, end of story. I don't care how much he is, like, I will go find the money. And I ended up putting some of my own money into that to make it possible, as well as Cinespace also donated funds, and we were able to finally finish the film. But it was really special because, you know, working with Noise Floor, who did all the sound, all the cartoon, all that great stuff, they were so gracious and patient with me because I would kind of like stop and start because I just ran out of money. So it was a long time coming for all of us. And I'm so grateful to be at a point now where we can just let it do whatever it needs to do and continue on.
Well, I'll tell you, the heartbreaking thing is for these wonderful festivals we're in, that we can't just hug each other and scream together and, you know, be in a crowd that's applauding, you know. And, you know, it is kind of a sad thing that this happened, just a pandemic happened right now.
Right. Absolutely. So hopefully some in-person screenings to come in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
However, you know, we'll screen it digitally in the interim. I mean, you know, like there's one festival in particular that messaged me personally and was like, hey, we're going to hold off until we can show this in person because
yeah.
Well, I'll fly to wherever that is.
Yes, upstate New York, baby. So,
that's exciting. Yeah.
So, you know, so there's instances like that where it's like, okay, heard, you know, we'll go along with what we need to go along with, but also, you know, screening digitally is also a treat. And
right, it is a treat.
People can, you know, I have friends that wouldn't be able to come to the festival normally that like tuned in, and then, you know, if they have a project, they like hit me up about that later. And so it's got its pros and cons, just like most things.
Yeah, and then we're talking about the life of the film now, like going out there and people seeing it. My question to both of you is what you hope the viewer will grasp the most about this film or take with them after they see this film. So I don't know who wants to answer that first.
The word if I had to answer with one word, it would probably be joy. Because people that I've talked to, that they just say, "Oh, it's so joyful watching it," and you know, it's the joy that I think remains with the people because it has a whimsical flavor to it. You know.
Sorry, guys, my cat is crying at my door. I don't know.
Oh, that's all right. It's a nice background noise.
Of course, right now in this moment. I would say empathy. Yeah. And magic, of course.
Yeah, magic.
You know,
definitely.
Certainly with the ending and that final, the hyped up version of the Pastel Girl anthem. I remember like when I was like working to get that fully created. I wanted everybody, I kept saying like, I want everybody to leave the theater dancing, you know, like they're like singing the Pastel Girl anthem as they're leaving the theater, you know? So that's very much still my greatest desire, I think, from people that
I think I have a question for Layne.
Yeah, go for it.
Did you have any idea at the auditions how exquisitely the Pastel Girls' voices would blend? It's like when you think about a blend, because I sang in a girl trio for many, many years, and you work hard to get a blend. Sometimes it takes months, even years, to get a perfect blend. And these women are just, ding, it's there, and they sound like angels. So did you know it was going to, or you were pleasantly surprised? I mean, you knew they had beautiful voices, not
Yeah.
that.
Right. I knew, I had seen Diannalise Rista, who plays Roz. I went and saw her in a musical. And when we were in this whole getting the movie written and all that whole process, so I saw her in a musical, was just blown away. Like that, she's just a fabulous singer. And so, incorporating lyrics and music into my films is definitely something I'm going to continue exploring and am exploring. And after seeing her perform and I just had to go and write a song into the film. And she ended up music directing it so beautifully. And
it is beautiful.
And actually, a little fun secret too is the character of Icicle is actually sung by my very good friend Shannon Grace, Shannon Rooney, so she dubbed over basically because Eliza Helm is living in LA, and we shot all this in Chicago, so we just didn't necessarily have the time or the funds to be able to fly her out for that. So Shannon ended up singing that part. And then I just had a feeling that Jasmine, you just can kind of, as a director in particular, like you can just smell talent, you just get like a vibe and a feeling from people from the first moment you meet them and they open their mouth, you just know. So, yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So, I guess we're coming to the end here, kind of, and Layne, since Joette just asked you a question, Layne, do you have a question for Joette?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see. When you look back on this production, what sticks out to you the most?
Oh, gee, there's so much. I have so much gratitude for being able to play this role. And there's just such a rich character to play. And I think what sticks out to me the most is how everyone just pulled together, you at the helm, just pulled together and cared for each other. And it really was like a close-knit family. And I really loved that.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think that's a good way to end this. That was moving. So I want to thank you both for joining this live Q&A. We have the details about their virtual screening, Bitchin' Shorts. Isn't that part of the Bitchin' Shorts? Okay. The Female Filmmaker Festival. So the details are in the description for this live showing. And so did you guys have any last things you wanted to add? Yeah.
I want to give a shout out and thumbs up and hooray for Catherine Woods, who was the makeup artist who transformed
Oh,
you.
yes.
She was absolutely brilliant.
Couldn't have done it without her. That's a fact.
That's great.
She definitely did the transformation, like she was specifically Joette's FX hair and makeup. Yeah. So every single day they went about this transformation together. So yeah.
And what a transformation it was. I had no idea. My jaw literally dropped when I found out. So good job. You guys did a great job. So yes, see this film. It's such an original in a good way. And I wish the best for the festival run. And yeah, I guess we'll just catch you next time.
Yeah. Thanks
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.